How's it going, guys? It's the Optical Tailor here for one of our most requested videos, which is the unboxing of a Ray-Ban Meta. There's countless videos on YouTube about Ray-Ban Metas from the general public's perspective, from a techie perspective. What this video is going to focus on is from an actual optician's or from an optical perspective. So let's get this guy open here. Okay, the case, it's honestly, it's half decent. It's similar to your classic Ray-Ban case. We've got the USB-C at the bottom here because this case doubles as the charger for the eyeglasses. And my first impressions on opening it, I mean, there's some sort of Alcantara lining, I would say. I'm sure it's not Alcantara, but it's got a nice smooth lining on the inside of the case to protect against scratches and whatnot. And let's get these guys out of the case here. So as you can see, it lights up green to show that it's got a bit of a charge. And this particular Ray-Ban Meta is for a client in England. So we're going to actually be fitting it with prescription lenses. That's why we've got the one here with clear lenses, because it's just a little bit more cost effective. If you're going to be fitting a Ray-Ban Meta with prescription, the first thing I will say is don't go for the sunglass option, because you're just paying a bit more money for sunglass lenses when ultimately you'll be changing out the lenses anyways. And that leads me to, can these be fitted with a prescription? So of course, yes, definitely. At the Optical Tailor, we pretty much tailor anything with a prescription. That was one of our most requested questions, actually. I've got a list of questions that we'll be going over, which were pretty much sent in by a lot of our viewers on Instagram and some of you guys on YouTube. So I'll be addressing those as well. And I'll take off the temple coverings. So for a lot of you guys, let's get into some technical details. This is called the temple of the eyewear, or of the eyeglasses, essentially because it runs across your temple. And oftentimes people come in, they'll call them arms, or they call them legs. They're not arms, they're not legs, they're temples. So let's get that sorted out. And my first impression looking at the Ray-Ban Meta is the hinge. It's actually a surprisingly decently built hinge. So these are IP4X waterproof, or water resistant, I would say. They're not necessarily waterproof. You can wear them in a bit of rain, or if you're out on a paddle boat or whatnot. But definitely if you're in a torrential storm, you wouldn't want to be wearing these guys. And for those of you who follow our Instagram channel, or those of you who know me at the Optical Tailor, we're always about handcrafted eyewear, with handcrafted Japanese eyewear really being our strong suit. But these, of course, I have to mention, they're obviously not handcrafted. They are mass-produced, and they are made in China, where, to be honest, 90% of Ray-Ban production, even in their standard line, is all made in China nowadays. It used to be a great American product. It's been a long time since it was a great American product. So let's put these guys on and tell you what I think in terms of fit, feel, function in general. Okay, so I just put them on. Right away, it recognized that I put them on, and it gave me like a bit of a sound effect there. I haven't paired them with my phone or anything. As you guys saw, we just pulled them out of the packaging. They're not bad. Like, I don't own a single pair of Ray-Bans. I've got over 50 pairs of glasses in my personal collection. So I don't think I've ever owned a pair of Ray-Bans. I can't remember the last time I wore a pair of Ray-Bans. I mean, in my profession, considering what I do, it's sacrilege. You will never see the Optical Tailor in a pair of Ray-Ban. And I guess you guys got me here today wearing Ray-Bans. So it is what it is. We had to do the Meta unboxing. So right here actually is the button that takes pictures. So it does give you a bit of a shutter noise. But right here, essentially where the temple bends down to just go over your ears, there are speakers, and it's pretty decent. When it comes to eyeglasses, or sorry, I would say technological glasses in a sense, that have more electronic features, if you're really looking for audio, I would say the best ones, hands down, are the Bose glasses. I've actually fitted those sunglasses with prescription as well for a client, And if you're strictly an audiophile, the Ray-Ban Metas aren't going to compare with Bose. You're just you're not getting the same level of audio. Then again, with the Bose glasses, you don't have the Meta AI, you don't have the video features, because I would say that is the icing on the cake. So here you can actually see the flash go off when you're taking a picture. One thing with these guys, to be honest, like as close as they are to a Ray-Ban Wayfarer, because I do remember the very first Meta glasses, if you guys remember, they were Snapchat glasses that came out, like it was pre-COVID, I believe it was around 2019, 2018, and they were very bulky, they were very ugly, they just, they didn't look like any Ray-Ban on the market, they just looked pretty much like a big ugly pair of glasses. These guys, I can truly say, they've got the classic Ray-Ban look pretty down. And I'm just trying to get a feel of them across my face. So I'm wearing the large size. Typically, this is a smaller pair of glasses for me, which is a size 47. But in general, I'm typically wearing anywhere from a 51 to a 55 eye size pair of glasses. So these fit right in there, being a size 53. So if you're like a medium build, I would say go for the large. If you're a lady, or if you're a more petitely built male, you know, you can definitely pull off the small or the regulars. But I can honestly say, like, the fit right out of the box, I'm trying to shake my head, and they're pretty good. If you're doing your sports or activities, obviously these don't have any rubberized nose pads or anything like that. And with sweat, you know, you may notice they're sliding down your nose a bit, as I do notice, like, if I push them down, they do slide. But definitely, I can imagine if I was sweating or if I was running in them, they would probably need a little bit of adjusting. And one thing I have to point out is this isn't acetate. So this does seem like an injection molded plastic. It's got a nice gloss to it. It's got a decent amount of heft and a good feel to it. But these aren't cellulose acetate. What cellulose acetate is, it's actually an organic plastic that's made out of plant and cotton fibers. So with you know, what we typically carry here at the Optical Tailor, such as Masunaga, Dita, these glasses are all made of acetate, being an organic natural material. It doesn't degrade nearly as much over time, and it can easily be polished after, let's say, 5, 6, 7 years of wear, back to a nice glossy finish. So that being said, do I think that these will give you the longevity of a standard pair of glasses? Definitely not, because to be honest, these aren't meant to be a standard pair of glasses. You have to realize at the end of the day, this is a piece of technology, and it's meant to eventually go obsolete. So if you get 3 to 4 years, you're probably doing pretty good. I'm going to go over some of the techie features real quick. You've got your essentially your camera button right here. That's to take your stills or to get your camera rolling. And then you've got the speakers on the top and bottom of the temple. The left temple here, it features the power on and off button. And the volume up and down is actually, it's a touch feature, so you can just slide your finger back across the right temple, and that's the volume up and down. And then the microphone is actually conveniently fitted right into the nose bridge there. So it's actually, to be honest, impressive that in a decent size of glasses, like these aren't overly bulky, they've actually managed to fit quite a bit of technology. And talking about that bridge, if you have a low bridge and high cheekbones, definitely get the actual low bridge version. So they do have a specific model that's made for those of you with higher cheekbones and a lower bridge. It'll just fit a lot more comfortably. You won't have it sliding right off your face. And putting these back on, when I think of them as a normal pair of glasses, to be honest, I don't think I would ever wear them as a normal pair of glasses. And what I mean by a normal pair of glasses is, for example, like my everyday eyewear. When I'm wearing these every day, I feel comfortable in, you know, in my clothing and what I'm doing. Whereas with these, it's really when you're in the mood of filming content, or you're going to be doing your stories or whatnot. Which also leads me to one of the biggest limitations of these glasses, which many people don't know. Given the 32 gigabyte memory, it's limited, first of all, for how much content you can actually record. and the videos are capped at a maximum of 3 minutes. So for those of you who think you can just go on a bike ride and record your ride, or you can be out in nature on your hike and record your hike, unfortunately you can't. You're only limited to 3-minute videos. So the real intention for these, to be honest, is for social media or for content creators. But another limitation is that these actually only film in a 3:4 aspect ratio. So essentially that's a square box. Whereas a lot of Instagram stories or Facebook stories, TikTok, it's in a 16:9 aspect ratio. So if the software or those apps aren't actually stretching your video accordingly, you're limited with just having essentially a square image. One of the main things I would like to address with Ray-Ban Meta is the quality of the lenses. So unfortunately, Ray-Ban in the industry, they're known as having some of the most inferior lenses. The actual Ray-Ban Wayfarers, the originals, they do in fact use glass lenses, which are optically the most clear material to use when it comes to an optical lens. Whereas in the Metas, unfortunately, what you're getting is polycarbonate. Polycarbonate is the most inferior lens on the market, and they essentially offer you the worst optics. In this case, it's not a big issue because these lenses are junk, and we're going to be tossing them and replacing them with prescription lenses anyways of a much higher quality. But when you actually have the Meta sunglasses, if you're sticking with the original lenses, you have to take note that what you're actually seeing out of is a very inferior product. The way I like to put it is, when you have a good quality lens, that dictates how you see, whereas the frame is what others see on you. Moreover, these lenses, they actually don't feature an AR coating. And again, in this case, since these are pretty much just junk lenses, it doesn't really matter. They're just a demo lens, which we'll be getting rid of anyways. But even the actual sunglasses, they don't feature an anti-reflective coating as well. For example, I just pulled this Makita here, and this is a stock frame with no lenses fitted, and even the demo lenses on a Makita, they come with anti-reflective coatings. Because even when you're wearing these in-store prior to fitting them with your prescription, Makita wants you to get that finished look and feel. Whereas, to be honest, it's quite surprising that in something like this, at this price point, they haven't been fitted with actual anti-reflective coated lenses. In regards to day-to-day functionality of these glasses, how usable are they really? To be honest, I think it's a lot more hype than actual usability. I can't imagine a grown man really walking around with these little cameras on his head. It's one of those things where I find it's a little strange. So from personal experience, I can say I was at a party and there was, a gentleman well into his 50s walking around wearing these, and he was recording. And you've constantly got this red light that actually flashes because, for privacy reasons, we have to know when we're being recorded. And I just can't imagine being that guy who's 50-something years old walking around with this little thing on your face that's constantly flashing red. Not only that, imagine going to the bathroom or just going to, certain public places, but where you do have some expectation of privacy and you're just next to someone wearing these things. It's kind of like, you've got weirdos out there today, and this allows weirdos to do some weird things. So you do have to protect yourself from those type of people. And the other thing is, in terms of sports, they really do have their limitations. For example, I've had people say to me, oh, those would be cool, like when riding my bike or riding my motorcycle. But like I said, it's only 3 minutes of recording time. So essentially, you're not really able to record all that much. And imagine riding a motorcycle. First of all, these are quite thick. I personally ride sport bikes, so I'm wearing a sports helmet. I can't imagine these fitting comfortably in my helmet. It really wouldn't work. And then the other thing is, when you're riding a bike or when you're actually doing fast-paced sports, you can't be fumbling or just messing around with buttons and just taking your hands off the handlebars. It's really one of those things. This is honestly, I would say, meant for content creators and for people who are just looking for that little bit of a extra gimmick, I would say, because in my opinion, these really are still a gimmick. That leads me to Mark Zuckerberg. He's actually publicly said that Meta or AI glasses are the future and they will be replacing smartphones. Do I think these will replace smartphones? I don't think so. I honestly can't see glasses replacing something where you actually have a screen and something to look at. Reason being, Mark Zuckerberg forgets to think that a lot of people are actually wearing prescription lenses. As I mentioned, as soon as you take the lenses out and fit them with prescription, that goes entirely out the window. So me personally, I actually don't have a prescription. I've got many pairs of glasses, but being the optical tailor, it's more for look and style because, as I mentioned before in previous videos, I just feel naked when I'm not wearing a pair of glasses. So honestly, if you were to come out with something where you could replace a cell phone, I guess it would benefit me, but only for so long. Because eventually, after the age of 40, we all get to that stage where we now need reading glasses. To be honest, it's much like the smartwatches. I'm not wearing a smartwatch here. I'm also that guy who would never wear a smartwatch. I have in the past. It lasted about 2 years, and after that, like I said, it's disposable. It's a piece of technology. I chucked it out the window, got myself into real watches. But when I wear something like this is a Cartier Santos. It's a timeless, iconic watch. I will have this for the rest of my life, and hopefully, we'll be able to pass it down to the next generation. When it comes to a smartwatch, you might wear it for 2 to 3 years max, and then it's now obsolete because it's been replaced by the next generation. Furthermore, I just couldn't imagine myself wearing a smartwatch and then checking my emails and sending texts. I actually like to be a little disconnected from my phone. 121 years later, this watch has stood the test of time. Whereas these glasses, being a piece of technology, they definitely will not stand that test of time. And it's essentially going to be obsolete and a disposable item. I'm going to discuss some of the most commonly asked questions in regards to Ray-Ban Meta. We've had many questions come through. I've made a short list of the most commonly asked ones. Number one being, can they be fitted with a prescription? So as I earlier described to you guys, definitely 100%. The lenses are very easily removable by a qualified professional. And make sure you guys are going to a qualified professional to have your prescription lens fitted. Are they made by the best manufacturer? I've heard that this is true. Unfortunately, that's the furthest thing from the truth. Luxottica is far from the finest manufacturer of eyewear in the world. When it comes to mass-produced eyewear, that's their bread and butter, but when it comes to actual high-quality, handcrafted eyewear, they are far behind the competition. How long will the Ray-Ban Meta last? It's one of those things where this is a piece of technology and it's a pair of eyewear. So in terms of a pair of eyewear, these may last you for a decade. Potentially, depending on your use and how rough you are with them. But when it comes to technology, they're going to be obsolete within the next 3 to 4 years because there's always that life cycle. It's similar to an iPhone. There's a new iPhone coming out every year. There's a new Samsung Galaxy coming out every year. And it's the same thing when it comes to Ray-Ban Metas. For example, as I'd mentioned, the first generation with the Snapchat eyeglasses, they were big, chunky, ugly. And, we'll be constantly seeing improvements in terms of battery life, sound quality. Overall, I don't really see these lasting any longer than 3 to 4 years in terms of relevancy. And the other main thing is the battery life, as I mentioned. It's not replaceable. These guys, they cannot be opened up anywhere, so I'm not even sure where the battery is. It's obviously in one of the temples, but there's no way to actually remove that battery and replace it. Would I purchase a pair? Definitely not. This is the only time you guys are ever going to see me wearing a pair of Ray-Bans, so here I am immortalized on YouTube in the Metas. If I'm looking for this style where I want that classic thick acetate look, my brand of choice is Cutler & Gross. These are handcrafted in Italy. It's some of the finest grade of Mezzachelli acetate. Cutler & Gross has been around since 1969, so they're a heritage brand in the world of eyewear. And this model here is very similar in terms of look and feel. And this is the Optical Tailor. When I think the Optical Tailor, if I was going to an event or if I'm going about my business, I would want to wear something like this as opposed to something like this with these two cameras sticking out the ends. Is this the future of eyewear? As I discussed previously, it's not the future of eyewear, guys. I don't want to say it's a gimmick, but it serves its purpose. But when it comes to eyewear, just as I mentioned, smartwatches haven't replaced actual watches. I don't see Metas or I would say smart glasses replacing actual eyewear, at least in our lifetime. And finally, my previous Ray-Bans had a white coating. Will this happen to the Meta? So what a lot of people are referring to that white coating, it's essentially this oxidization of the plastic. And when it comes to something like this, an actual acetate frame, after 5-10 years, if these do oxidize, these can be polished and it will look essentially brand new. When it comes to these guys, they're actually made of a petroleum-based plastic. And unfortunately, it's just not serviceable, or it cannot be polished to get that same original luster back. So more likely than not, if you are a person with high acidity in your skin and you really wear your glasses a lot, they probably will develop that same white coating over time. And that includes some of our top questions. This channel is growing and we're going to be putting out a lot of quality eyewear content for you guys. To conclude the video, I'm going to run through a quick rating of the Ray-Ban Meta. So essentially, in terms of style, I have to give these guys a 5 out of 5. I mean, I can't lie, it's one of the most iconic styles in eyewear. Countless frames have been inspired from the Ray-Ban Wayfarer, and the original Wayfarer was first launched in 1956. It's been on pretty much all the Hollywood icons, and even when I put these on, I think they look fairly decent. It's not something I would personally wear, but I'm not trying to give my biased opinion here. Definitely a 5 out of 5 in terms of style. Function, I have to rate them at a 3, because before I actually found out about many of the details, here I was thinking that, you could just go out and record a half an hour, 40-minute video, hour-long video, but unfortunately you're limited to 3-minute snippets. So yes, you've got cameras and you've got audio, but really this is more just for social media. If you're actually using it to substitute your camera or a GoPro, it's just not going to happen. 3 out of 5 in terms of function. When it comes to quality, it's got a decent build to it. It feels fairly substantial. It feels, pretty decent when you put it on. In terms of manufacturing quality, they could have done much, much better. But then again, it's Ray-Ban. It's not even Ray-Ban, it's Luxottica. They're looking to make a profit, and it's all about mass production. So we do lose in that handcrafted quality. It's injection molded plastic. You're not getting any Mazzucchelli or any cellulose acetate. The lenses are polycarbonate. So to be honest, in terms of quality, I have to give it 2.5, 3. I'll give it a 3. I'll be a little generous. And overall, I'll give it a 3 out of 5. So we're at about 60%. And I think, that's fairly decent. It's got a passing grade. It's got the Optical Tailor's passing grade. I can't really rate it highly in terms of eyewear, but for what it is, it's not bad, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, as we'll be posting regular content, and we look forward to educating you on the world of fine handcrafted eyewear. And occasionally, you'll get something like this.